God, rest us, Lord.
Today, the 15th August, and as well as in August, there will be plantation drive. So we request all of us to proceed and take part in that plantation drive. With this, I would like to invite our chief guest, Professor J.K. Patnaik, to deliver the Independence Day message.
Happy Independence Day. भारत माता की जय। भारत माता की जय। भारत माता की जय। बहुत धन्यवाद। सुप्रभात. Good morning. I wish you all happy Independence Day. This is the 78th Independence Day. India has become now a grown-up young nation of 78 years old. Because 78 years in the life of a nation is not much. In 2047 we'll celebrate 100 years only. But India as a country, as a civilization, has a long history of 5,000 years. India is not just a country. It is a concept that affords passage and space to each and every individual, group, community, tribe, caste, and so on. As a political system, it may be 77 years old. As a nation, it may be 200, 300 years old. Because I always say, and today also I would like to say, the concept of nation is just of recent origin. When the Europeans wanted to have their own specific identities in respect of their linguistic and religious identities, they developed the notion of nation. But we in India, for us, Akhanda Bharata is the only notion, not a nation, wherein the entire civilization begins from West Asia, Persia, Persia, Iran, down to Southeast Asia, wherein we have our sphere of influence. We had our influence. Even today, as a soft power, we do contribute immensely to these nations. One of the oldest civilizations that could survive on this earth, that is India, because of the resilience, because of the flexibility and the freedom, the political freedom that you might have got from the colonial masters just 77 years ago. But the notion of freedom, individual freedom, the freedom to pursue whatever you want, to believe whatever you want, that freedom is inseparable and inalienable to the Indian civilization. What is freedom? In my opinion, freedom means self-restraint. Freedom means discipline. Freedom means rule of law, following the principles, rules and norms that is established by a community, by an organization, a political organization, or any organization for that matter. What is the purpose of doing this? Why should we have freedom? Why everybody should have freedom? Freedom will enable us to realize our highest potential. How do you realize your highest potential? By being part of an organization, whether it is economic organization, political organization, social organization, tribal organization, cultural organization, every organization, every institution offers you an opportunity to realize your potentialities in the respective sphere of activities. That is the essence of freedom. Freedom is not just sovereignty. It is beyond. Sovereignty is also a narrow concept. As a student of political science in BA, we were reading sovereignty. There are two theories of sovereignty. There are many. Two principal theories. One theory says sovereignty is one where the ruler or the individuals, the citizens will have the freedom. Two, freedom from others. But another thing is that freedom, that sovereignty can be divided. People feel that sovereignty cannot be divided. Because when you assign some power and function to a particular group with respect to a political activity, a function, then that is sovereignty is given. We have evolved in India a system of governance through our constitution, which our forefathers, the founding fathers gave to us, that enshrines the federal principle. Federalism is not only the coexistence of two systems, two political units in a relationship with each other in terms of political, economic, again, and so on. Now, the concept of federalism has been extended and expanded to the even down to the village, where a small village has also the power to look after its own affairs. To the extent it is limited to that. To the extent it has the power. Our constitution is very clear. In the 7th schedule, in the 11th schedule, there are items wherein who will exercise which power. This is the only constitution in the world, the biggest constitution, the largest constitution, the most detailed constitution, which gives you the way you have to run and govern yourself. And other democracies, leading democracies, one democracy doesn't have a constitution of its own, the so-called oldest democracy. There is another constitution, another institution where they have got only 7 articles. We are very clear because we know ours is a big country, a vast civilization where we need to incorporate every aspect of our governance so that we will not have any future conflict. I mean conflict in terms of political conflict, in terms of not any other conflict. Because politics is the only thing that allows you the opportunity to not only govern yourself, but to run your own affairs in your own way, and where you have democracy. And India is one of the wonderful, the most detailed constitution that we have, provides you every aspect how to do your governance process. There are differences. There are cleavages. Every community feels alienated. Every community, except the mainstream. Even the mainstream communities also, they feel that we do not get our share. Bihar says that we should be treated as special status. Odisha says that we should have special status. Jammu and Kashmir, we have got separate state we need. Northeast, I don't want to discuss. I've been here for the last 20 years. That we are all reluctant Democrats. We are Democrats, but we are reluctant. We are nationalists, we are reluctant nationalists. When you overcome this reluctance, when you realize the difficulties of being a reluctant Democrat or a nationalist, the so-called, for me nationalist, in any case I'm not able to digest the notion of this vast nation, vast civilization, which gives you the space. I always use the word space. Space gives you the freedom. And this space will not be available anywhere in the world. I lived in the West, mind you, for 4 years. I have gone to Europe. I had also difficulties, I tell you. And being one of the elite members of those societies, because I was a student. Student is the elite of any society, isn't it? And the beyond the campus, the social life, the cultural life down there, I'm talking about North America, is not at all acceptable to us. The social moorings, the cultural moorings that we are brought up since our childhood, they do not fit into those frameworks. You'll say, sir, every year at least 1 million Indians are migrating. That is another story. They have their different kind of priorities. But as an individual, as a citizen, as a proud citizen, proud individual, I cannot compromise and put my hand on the chest and bow and ooh the allegiance to an alien constitution, alien culture, alien faith. Yesterday we were remembering the horrors of partition, where our founding fathers or freedom fighters laid their lives, and in the process millions of people lost their hearth and home and life also, because of the deliberate effort undertaken by the Western world to destroy one of the oldest civilizations. There is a systematic effort on the part of the Western world to destroy, to decimate, to de-emaciate this oldest civilization. You are the proud citizens of this oldest civilization, where you have everything that you want. You cannot escape from these deliberate effort to destroy you, because you are a shining star. Everybody is jealous. Minus the economic prosperity, we have everything in India. You name it and we have it. And knowledge also we have. And our knowledge also was mutilated, destroyed, or stolen and given a new packaging, a new shape. And of course, their economic prosperity is because of their advancement in the sphere of science and technology. I don't deny that. And in the span of 77 years, we also have marched past. I've seen in my childhood how it was difficult. Yesterday I was remembering about how do I speak in this gathering last night. I was remembering about when I was a school student and college student, white paper, notebook. We were being given in the school, you have to stand in the queue, you have to have an identity card. There they will give you 10 dozens, 10 dozen is 120 pages. And again, when quota will come, again you have to stand in the queue. 600, 700 students will stand in the queue and get that. That was the situation. And the per dozen it was 25 paise. I remember very clearly. And same thing happened in college. I'm talking about the year 74, 76. I was in college. I passed out 11th class in 74. How many years? 50 years? Not an old man. What I mean to say is, such was the economic situation, where people were not eating a square meal a day. Educated families in a week would go for fasting once in a week, so that they would save that. Either it was Monday or Saturday or even Sunday. Ekadasi. Ekadasi is the 11th day of the, what is that? Full moon and, yeah, Purnima and all these things. I was also doing Ekadasi. You don't eat anything. And it is not, not that we didn't have food, but because the entire country was starving. And the so-called Americans, they said, okay, we'll give you free wheat under PL 480. And wheat ship were coming, and in the high schools, in the schools, I'm talking about primary schools, they would cook that wheat. Suji, suji, sir? They will do it, and they will give in a newspaper. All of us will eat. And milk powder. And such kind of emaciated society in a span of 50 years, because I'm adding 50 years. You will see, you have seen, now you people are fortunate. Yours is a fortunate generation which is seeing the transition from the traditional economy to modern economy. All of you are having now mobile phones. You may not be so prosperous. Naga society is not so prosperous. It is a caste-strapped economy in my understanding. Everybody is self-sufficient. Everybody is having the basic needs, but it is a caste-strapped economy. And for that, there is a mad scramble, and there is so much of corruption, there is so much of misunderstanding, and there is so much. So many things. We have to evolve. We have to come to that level where we can have an understanding and try to realize the fact that unless we coexist amongst ourselves as a Naga society, we cannot develop. For me, yesterday I was telling, today also I'm telling, for me Naga is a generic term. As a social scientist of Northeast, a specialist, for me Naga is a generic term. I would like to pursue this research because there are 16, 17, 18, 19 tribal groups, wonderful. And they have their own uniqueness and their own identity, where they can have this larger identity called Naga identity. They can coexist. And this Naga identity is also equally wonderful to coexist with the Indian national identity, wherein you get the space. The beauty of Indian constitution is unity in diversity. No business of one nation, one culture. I don't believe in it. I believe in pluralism. I believe in the freedom of every group. What is this paper here? When I talk about Nagaland, I am very serious as a student of social science, as a social scientist. Why? We have everything, but we cannot be visible at the national level. I'm equally concerned. Nagaland University is one of the oldest universities in the Northeast region. We have everything, but we are not yet visible at the national level. Why we do not have that thing, that critical element, which can recognize and trigger a sense of involvement, a sense of identity with the institution where we are working or where we are studying. I always speak to my officers, my teachers, that in Nagaland University we have everything. But why we are not able to get it to that level? You will ask me, sir, what is the reason? You tell. I will tell you. Wait. For the efficient functioning of any organization, you need to have rule of law. You need to have the freedom. And freedom means discipline. I've told you. It's not that we don't have rule of law here. But it is being followed more in its abuse than in its own way. If we follow the rules, if we have discipline, if we follow the norms, the procedures, give your own the best that you can, then nobody on this earth can beat us. In the last 2 years, I've seen how there is a turnaround and transformation amongst us. Same teachers, same officers, same students. Not the same student, but students with the same culture. Our students are wonderful students. I tell everybody outside, Northeast. Because you do not protest. You do not question. You do not interrogate. I provoke you. I instigate you all, students, my dear student friends, to interrogate each and every teacher. Question them. Not only about their conduct, but academics. Not that you're fools or idiots. You are all intelligent people, I know. Many things come in your mind. Many questions arise in your mind. But in the classroom, you just keep quiet. Same, ditto with other states in Northeast. In the beginning, when I came here, came in Northeast in 2004, I thought, these dumb fools, these students, what are they doing here? Nobody is, they're not listening to me, anything they're doing like this. And Mizos are like, still, no, body language is not so, it is Naga, or at least more active and strong. But when I instigated, provoked them, the kind of questions they ask, the kind of critical analysis they make, they go beyond what the teacher understands about the things. Just as I was telling you, this Naga generic term, similarly Mizo generic term. One of my students, he said, sir, it is because you are using the word generic, I will not accept the concept called tribals identifying other, this like Mara, Mar, this Paite, Pachau. Similarly here, then I said, what are you going to do? Then he said, sir, I will identify as sub-tribes so that we will have more bond. Because there are some commonalities in marriage practices, in the religious practices, religious rituals, not the religion, modern religion. I'm talking about the other. Because in marriage, kinship, all these things you find the traditional practices still exist, which is really good to invoke your traditional identities. But don't get confused about your identity being only a specific primordial identity. You have got multiple identities you need to know. And you have to perform your function according to the identity that you identify yourself or recognize yourself in the context of a particular institution. So, this generic term, This notion was really eye-opener for me. Here I'm just, it's a kind of an intellectual analysis. I may be wrong. You can question me, right? You can interrogate me. Because there is a need to have healthy debate and discussion on the campus. You have got a wonderful park here. Every week once you can sit down and discuss. Not only art students, science students also can do it here. And science students can do much better than art students. Although I'm an art student, I'm telling. Sit down here. Somebody will be here. I'll give you this podium. And speak, discuss, debate. That is how you can contribute to the peaceful atmosphere and development of this state called Nagaland. Similarly, I tell you, my dear friends, teacher friends, please accept whatever the administration is insisting on you. I don't find any leaders here. The leaders are very few. Our president is here, Bendang. I have told him, you see, how long you can be elusive? How can you drift yourself? Already we have drifted away. One of the beautiful campuses, one of the beautiful universities in the region has drifted and at the rock bottom stage. In terms of granting aid, Nagaland University gets more than others in Northeast. I tell you, my dear friends, this I can tell with so much of confidence. And what is the kind that you are giving in return? People, Monday off, half day. Saturday, Friday, half day. The disease to go to Dimapur should stop. I request you all of you, please, don't get so much domesticated. See, animals are domesticated, humans are not domesticated. And be a real professional and do your job. I do not expect that you will give me a gold medal. But I expect you to do your job in commensurate with your salary. I am telling to the non-teachers, my non-teaching friends. I am telling to my teaching friends. Many teachers are visiting professor. I am openly telling to you, my dear friends, student friends. And you people do not interrogate. Do not question. You are at fault. You are not doing your job. Why the teacher will not come to the class? You see, I have the guts to speak on this podium like this. Can a vice chancellor speak like this? Because I know your weakness, dear. How many of you are coming regularly? I have got every information. I know, but I will not take action. Intellectuals do not take penal action against anybody. Intellectuals expect you to reform yourself, give the opportunity to you to reform yourself, to correct yourself, to mend yourself. Then only we can grow together. If penal action is required, I can do it. I have that mind. God has given me that brain how to become more vindictive. No, I will not do it. I will have humanist approach. I will approach everybody, appeal to everybody, touch their conscience, motivate them. I believe in that. I believe in that power of motivation. I believe in the power of transformation, change. Jesus Christ did not force anybody. Gandhi did not force anybody. Krishna did not force anybody. Krishna sat down and spoke 700 lines to Arjuna and he fought the war, period. And Mahabharata war took place and there was triumph of good over evil. I believe in those things. I tell you, my dear friends, please mend yourself. Please fall in line or else we are doomed to be failure. doomed to destroy ourselves. That apart, I would like to just speak a few minutes. In the past 2 years, we have seen some momentous changes. Transformation has taken place. My dear friends, don't think that the transformation in terms of the building, no. These are superficial. The infrastructure development is superficial. But in academics, there is transformation. Our students are making noise in Delhi. This year I want to see you also. Go to Delhi, some of you, make noise there. Either in terms of sports, either in terms of debate. Last year, your president went in there in the central hall of the parliament and spoke about human rights. I want you to make a noise at the national level. I want you, teachers, make your presence felt at the international level, at the national level, so that Nagaland University will grow, develop. With this kind of hope, anticipation, and aspiration, I would like to stop here. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for that stirring message. Before we invite the DR, JD for the vote of thanks, I would like to again reiterate that for the plantation, VC will lead. He will plant the first sapling today, followed by registrar and other dignitaries.
Good morning, everyone. Wishing you all a very happy Independence Day on behalf of the Nagaland University. At the outset, I would like to thank our Almighty God for blessing us this beautiful day. Last, but definitely not the least, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to our PRO, Sri Peter Key, the chairperson of this program. So I would like to extend my gratitude and wishing you all a very, very happy Independence Day. Thank you all.